The emergency beacon's pulse cut through the perpetual twilight of Epsilon 6, a rhythm as steady as a heartbeat against the colony's dying sun. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood at the helm of her rescue shuttle, watching the mining facility's silhouette emerge from the violet haze. The distress signal had been broadcasting for 3 days, but something about this mission felt different. Wrong. Life signs are scattered, Captain. Lieutenant James Park reported from his station, dark eyes fixed on the scanner. Environmental systems are failing across multiple sectors. Elena tightened her grip on the controls. After 15 years in the Colonial Marine Corps, she learned to trust her instincts. Any hostile signatures? Negative, but James hesitated, adjusting his readings. There's something interfering with our scanners. Could be radiation from the facility's damaged core. The shuttle descended through layers of atmospheric gases, each more corrosive than the last. Epsilon 6 had never been meant for long-term habitation. It was a mining outpost, designed to extract rare elements from the planet's unstable core. The facility's landing pad came into view, its surface scarred by what looked like massive claw marks. "Those aren't from mining equipment," Elena muttered, activating her combat armor systems. The crystalline display in her helmet illuminated, highlighting structural weaknesses and potential threats. "Park, Martinez, full combat loadout. We go in hot." The team moved through the facility's main airlock, the artificial atmosphere whispering around them. Emergency lights cast red shadows across empty corridors, and the air tasted metallic even through their filters. Elena took point, her pulse rifle at the ready. They found the first bodies in the mess hall. Miners, still in their work clothes, frozen in positions of terror. But it was what they didn't find that disturbed Elena most. No blood, no signs of violence. Just empty shells, as if something had simply stopped them. "Captain," Martinez called out, her voice tight. "You need to see this." In the research wing, they discovered what had really happened. Holding tanks lined the walls, most shattered from within. Documents scattered across consoles told a familiar story: corporate greed, illegal experiments, and something discovered in the planet's core that should have stayed buried. A sound echoed through the facility, part growl, part crystalline chime. Elena signaled her team to hold position. The noise came again, closer this time, accompanied by a strange luminescence that seemed to bend the shadows themselves. "Movement, 30 meters ahead," James whispered. "It's shifting." Elena saw it then, a form that seemed to flow like liquid mercury, but with the organic grace of a predator. It moved through the darkness as if it were part of it, its shape constantly changing. One moment like a terrestrial wolf, the next something altogether alien. The creature stopped, regarding them with eyes that glowed with an inner light. Elena raised her rifle, finger on the trigger, when something unprecedented happened. "Wait," the creature spoke, its voice resonating in their minds rather than their ears. "I am not your enemy." Elena's training screamed at her to fire, but something in those eyes, something ancient and intelligent, made her hesitate. "What are you?" "I am called Vex," the creature responded, its form stabilizing into something vaguely canine, but covered in what looked like living crystal. "And I am all that remains of those who came before, those who your people tried to resurrect." The creature was wounded, Elena realized. Beneath its shifting exterior, she could see patterns of damage, like cracks in a mirror. Whatever the mining company had done here, this being had been as much victim as any of the facility staff. "Captain," Martinez warned, "protocol states." "Protocol didn't account for this." Elena cut her off, lowering her weapon slowly. Years of experience told her this moment would change everything. For her, for humanity, for their understanding of life itself. "You're hurt." "Yes," Vex acknowledged, a note of surprise in its mental voice. "Your kind, they sought to harness what we are. They did not understand that we cannot be controlled. We can only be understood." Elena made a decision that would alter the course of her life forever. She slung her rifle across her back and stepped forward, hands raised. Then help me understand. Start from the beginning. Behind her, she could hear her team's anxious breathing, could feel the weight of regulations and duty pressing down. But as Vex's crystalline eyes met hers, she knew some things transcended protocol. Sometimes, the right choice was the impossible one. The facility's emergency lights flickered, casting prismatic reflections off Vex's shifting form. Outside, the corrosive storms of Epsilon 6 raged on. But in that moment, a bridge was built between two species that would reshape the galaxy itself. The abandoned bunker complex on Mars Valles Marineris wasn't much, but it was secure and off the grid, exactly what Elena needed. 3 weeks had passed since the Epsilon 6 incident, and she'd risked everything to smuggle Vex away from the facility before the corporate cleanup crews arrived. Her career, her reputation, possibly her freedom. All gambling chips in a game she never planned to play. The crystalline alien moved through the bunker's shadows like flowing mercury, its form shifting between states of matter with fluid grace. Elena watched as Vex examined the makeshift medical equipment she'd salvaged from various black market sources. The creature's wounds were healing, but slowly, leaving traceries of darkness across its crystalline surface like cracks in ancient ice. Your technology is primitive, Vex observed, its thoughts resonating in Elena's mind. But the intent behind it is fascinating. You seek to heal, to mend, to restore. My people believe such concepts were weakness. Elena calibrated a cellular regenerator, trying to modify it for Vex's unique physiology. Tell me about them. Your people. You said they came before. Before what? Vex's form rippled, creating patterns that seemed to tell stories in light and shadow. Before the great silence, before the void between stars grew cold with absence, we were the crystalline collective, beings of pure energy and thought who had transcended physical form. We believed ourselves gods. What happened to them? Elena asked, though part of her already knew the answer. Species don't hide in planet cores unless they're running from something. Pride, Vex replied, its mental voice carrying centuries of sorrow. We discovered ways to manipulate the very fabric of space-time, to fold reality like paper. But there were others, older things that slumbered in the dark between galaxies. Our experiments woke them. A proximity alarm chimed, and Elena instinctively reached for her rifle before recognizing the signal pattern. Lieutenant Park's weekly supply drop. She trusted him with their location, knowing his own history of questioning orders when ethics demanded it. Still, she kept her weapon close as she went to retrieve the supplies. When she returned, Vex had shifted into a more humanoid form, though still composed of flowing crystal and light. Your companion fears for you, it observed. He believes you are being influenced. Elena sorted through the supplies. Medical equipment, food, power cells, and data crystals containing classified information about the mining company's experiments. Are you influencing me? Would you believe my answer either way? Vex's form shimmered with what Elena had come to recognize as amusement. You humans are remarkably resistant to mental manipulation. It is one of your species' most intriguing qualities. Elena found what she was looking for, a prototype neural interface, technically illegal but necessary for what she had planned. Good to know. Because what I'm about to propose is either brilliant or suicidal, and I need to know it's my own idea. She held up the neural interface. Your people communicated through pure thought. If we can adapt this technology, maybe we can do more than just share surface impressions. Maybe we can truly understand each other. Vex moved closer, its crystalline structure analyzing the device. Such mixing of minds is dangerous. Elena Rodriguez. You may see things you cannot unsee, know things you cannot unknow. Story of my life, Elena replied, beginning to calibrate the interface. But if we're going to survive what's coming, we need every advantage we can get. The mining company wasn't acting alone. They were working for someone. Something. And sooner or later, they're going to realize what they lost. As if in response to her words, the bunker's lights flickered, and for a moment Elena saw Vex's true form reflected in the shadows, vast, ancient, and terrifying in its complexity. But there was also something else there, something that reminded her of the scared recruits she trained over the years. Sometimes the strongest warriors were the ones who had learned to fear. Very well, Vex agreed, its form stabilizing. But first, you must understand what you face. The beings that hunted my people, they do not think as you do. They do not feel as you do. They are living equations, seeking to solve the universe by reducing it to absolute zero. And they have waited eons for someone to open the door. Elena connected the last power coupling to the neural interface. Then I guess it's time we learned how to close it. Together, the interface hummed to life, creating a bridge between human consciousness and crystalline thought. As Elena's mind touched Vex's, the bunker wall seemed to dissolve, revealing vistas of space and time that no human had ever witnessed. And somewhere in that infinite expanse, ancient eyes opened, sensing the connection between species that should never have met. The real war was about to begin. The neural link between Elena and Vex had changed everything, including what Elena saw when she closed her eyes. Crystalline memories cascaded through her dreams. Vast cities of living light, beings of pure energy dancing between stars, and always the darkness that waited beyond. She woke in the bunker's dim light, her mind still echoing with visions of worlds that had died before Earth's sun first ignited. "They're coming," Vex announced, materializing from the shadows. Its crystalline form pulsed with urgent patterns that Elena now understood as clearly as spoken words. The connection between us. They felt it, like a beacon in the void. Elena was already moving, grabbing the emergency packs she prepared weeks ago. The neural interface had given her more than just understanding. It had given her fragments of Vex's combat capabilities. Her movements were different now, more fluid, less human. How long? Hours. Maybe less. Vex's form shifted, absorbing the medical equipment into its crystalline matrix. The mining company's benefactors. They're not just looking for me anymore. They've seen what we can do together. The potential. The bunker's security systems flashed red, detecting multiple ships entering Mars' atmosphere. Elena pulled up the tactical display, watching as unmarked vessels took up attack positions. Their design was wrong. All angles that shouldn't exist, geometries that hurt to look at. "Those aren't human ships," Elena muttered, though she already knew the truth. The neural link filled in the gaps. They were probes, semi-organic constructs sent by the beings Vex's people had awakened. The calculators, as Vex's kind had named them, entities that sought to solve the equation of existence by eliminating all variables. "Lieutenant Park," Elena activated her secure comm. "Initiation Protocol Alpha. Burn everything." Static crackled, then Park's voice came through, tense but professional. "Already done, Captain. But there's something else. The mining company, they're working with military intelligence. They're calling you a traitor, claiming you've been compromised by an alien intelligence." Elena laughed bitterly. "They're not entirely wrong." She looked at Vex, whose crystalline form now rippled with combat configurations she recognized from their shared memories. "We need to get off-world. Somewhere they won't expect. There is a place." Vex's thoughts merged with hers, sharing coordinates and images. "A sanctuary my people built, hidden in the core of a dying star. But reaching it." The bunker shook as the first energy pulses hit, weapons that operated on principles human science hadn't even theorized yet. Elena felt Vex's knowledge flowing through her, understanding exactly what those weapons could do, how they could unwrite matter itself from reality's equation. "Martinez," Elena calmed, "is our backup ride still operational?" "Fueled and ready, Captain. But it's suicide to attempt atmospheric break with those ships up there." Elena smiled, feeling Vex's crystalline patterns align with her own biorhythms. "Then it's a good thing we're not planning anything that simple." She turned to her alien companion, ready to show them what happens when humanity and the crystalline collective work together. Vex's form shifted, extending crystalline structures that merged with Alina's combat armor, creating a hybrid of human technology and alien living crystal. The neural link blazed with shared purpose, two minds becoming something greater than their sum. The calculators believe they can reduce all existence to absolute certainty. Vex communicated, its thoughts now indistinguishable from Alina's own. But they never accounted for human unpredictability. They moved as one through the bunker's collapsing corridors, Alina's enhanced armor allowing her to phase through solid matter just as Vex did. Behind them, reality itself began to unravel as the enemy weapons sought to solve the equation of their existence by eliminating them from it. They reached the hidden hangar where Martinez waited with their escape craft, a prototype vessel that Alina had modified with crystalline technology. The ship hummed with hybrid energy, human ingenuity merged with ancient alien wisdom. "Those ships up there," Martinez observed as they boarded, "they're not trying to kill us, are they? They're trying to make it so we never existed at all." "Precisely," Vex confirmed, merging with the ship's systems as Alina took the controls. "But they are about to learn something my people never understood. Sometimes the most elegant solution to an equation is to break all the rules." The hangar roof retracted, revealing the Martian sky filled with impossible ships. Alina felt Vex's knowledge flow through her, understanding exactly how to navigate the gaps between their enemies' mathematical certainties. Sometimes the only way to win was to become a paradox. They launched into chaos, their hybrid ship moving in ways that defied physics, reality rippling around them as the calculator's weapons tried to erase them from existence. But you couldn't solve for a variable that refused to be defined, couldn't eliminate what could shift between states of being. As they broke through Mars' atmosphere, Alina realized that this was just the beginning. The real war wouldn't be fought with weapons or ships, but with ideas, the cold certainty of cosmic mathematics against the beautiful unpredictability of life itself. And somewhere in the space between those extremes, a human soldier and a crystalline alien had found something new, a paradox that might just save them all. The sanctuary of the dying star pulsed around their ship, its corona a shield of plasma and crystalline energy that hid them from the calculator's endless equations. Alina stood at a viewport, watching streams of stellar matter flow through ancient alien architecture that defied human understanding. The neural link with Vex had evolved, allowing her to see the underlying patterns, a fortress built not of matter, but of probability itself. "Your mind has adapted remarkably," Vex observed, its crystalline form reflecting the star's light in impossible colors. "Most beings would have fractured by now, trying to comprehend what we've built here." Alina touched the viewport's surface, feeling the quantum fluctuations through her enhanced armor. "Maybe that's humanity's real strength. We're too stubborn to break when the universe doesn't make sense." Lieutenant Park's voice crackled through their quantum-encrypted channel. "Captain, we've decoded the data from the mining facility. You need to see this." In the sanctuary's central chamber, holographic displays showed the truth they'd been seeking. The mining company hadn't stumbled upon Vex by accident. They'd been guided there by something older than Earth itself, a dormant calculator seed, buried in human consciousness since the species first evolved. "They've been watching us," Alina realized, reading through centuries of hidden history, guiding our development. The quantum physics breakthroughs, the faster-than-light theories. They weren't just waiting for us to find them. They were shaping us into what they needed. Vex's form rippled with complex emotions that resonated through their neural link. The calculators don't just want to eliminate life. They want to understand it, to solve it. Your species represents a unique variable in their equations, adaptable, unpredictable, yet capable of grasping their mathematics. Martinez, who had been analyzing tactical data, looked up sharply. The mining company's experiments. They weren't trying to control Vex's people. They were trying to create hybrids, Alina finished, the realization hitting her like a physical blow. A perfect synthesis of human unpredictability and crystalline power. an army that could navigate the spaces between certainty and chaos. The neural link flooded with Vex's memories, countless civilizations across time and space, each manipulated by the calculators, each pushed toward the same terrible evolution. But humanity had done something unprecedented. Instead of trying to control the crystalline beings, one human had chosen to understand them. Your choice changed everything, Vex communicated, its thoughts merging with Alina's. The calculator's equations cannot account for true cooperation between species. For trust, the sanctuary's sensors pulsed with warning signals. Reality itself seemed to shudder as massive ships emerged from hyperspace, human vessels, but wrong somehow, their hulls gleaming with the same impossible geometries as the calculator probes. "They've done it," Park whispered, checking the readings. "The mining company. They've started mass-producing hybrids, but without the neural link, without true understanding." Alina watched through enhanced senses as the hybrid ships approached, feeling the tortured frequencies of minds caught between states of being. The mining company had rushed the process, forcing crystalline evolution on unwilling humans. The results were powerful but unstable, weapons rather than partners. "We have to help them," Alina decided, her humanity warring with the tactical knowledge flowing through the neural link. "Those are people out there, trapped between forms." Vex's crystalline structure aligned with her armor, sharing power and purpose. "To save them, we must show them another way. Not control, not submission, but true synthesis." The sanctuary's defenses activated, not to attack the hybrid ships, but to reach out to them. Alina felt Vex's consciousness merge more deeply with her own, their combined understanding broadcasting through quantum channels that transcended normal space. "We offer you choice." Their unified thoughts reached out to the tortured hybrids. "We offer you balance." The hybrid ships halted their advance, their crews feeling the difference between their forced evolution and the true partnership they witnessed. But behind them, space itself began to crack as larger forces took notice. The calculators were coming, not through proxies or probes, but in their true form. The final equation was about to be solved, one way or another. Alina looked at her team, Park with his unshakable loyalty, Martinez with her tactical brilliance, and Vex, who had shown her that the greatest strengths often came from what made you different. The neural link hummed with shared purpose and understanding. "Well," Alina said, watching as reality itself began to warp around the approaching calculator ships, "I guess it's time to show them that some equations don't need to be solved. They just need to be accepted." The sanctuary's star pulsed with power, ready to become either humanity's last fortress or the birthplace of something entirely new. The next few hours would determine not just their fate, but the very nature of existence itself. The space around the dying star fractured like breaking glass as the calculator ships emerged from higher dimensions. They were vast beyond comprehension, their forms making mockery of physics, geometric impossibilities that existed in multiple states simultaneously, each one a living equation seeking to solve the universe. Alina stood at the sanctuary's control nexus, her hybrid armor pulsing with crystalline energy. Through her neural link with Vex, she could see the true nature of their enemy. Beings that had evolved so far past organic life that they'd forgotten why life existed in the first place. "They're broadcasting their ultimatum," Martins reported, her hands dancing over controls that merged human and crystalline technology. In every language, every possible form of communication. The message was simple: submit to optimization. Become part of the equation. All variables must be solved. Alina felt Vex's consciousness merge more deeply with her own, their shared understanding reaching out to the hybrid ships that hung in space between them and the calculators. The tortured crews of those vessels wavered, caught between their forced evolution and the promise of true synthesis. "Show them." Alina broadcast through the quantum channels. "Show them what we've learned." Through their neural link, Alina and Vex shared everything. The pain, the trust, the gradual understanding that had transformed them both. They showed how humanity's chaos and the crystalline collective's order could coexist, strengthen each other, create something greater than the sum of their parts. The hybrid ships began to change. Their crews, seeing the difference between forced compliance and willing cooperation, started to reshape their vessels. The impossible geometries of calculator technology merged with human determination and crystalline wisdom. The calculators are powering their primary weapons, Park warned. They're going to try to erase this entire sector of space from their equations. Elena smiled, feeling Vex's agreement through their link. Let them try. Some things can't be reduced to mathematics. The Sanctuary's star pulsed with power as Elena, Vex, and their allies enacted their final gambit. The hybrid ships moved into formation, their crews now fully embracing the synthesis of human and crystalline nature. They weren't weapons anymore. They were bridges between states of being. The calculators struck with weapons that unraveled reality itself, trying to reduce everything to absolute zero. But where their energies touched the hybrid ships, something unprecedented happened. The chaos of human consciousness and the order of crystalline thought created a new state of existence, a harmony that couldn't be solved because it wasn't an equation at all. Now, Elena commanded, her consciousness fully merged with Vex. The dying star erupted, not with destruction, but with transformation. The sanctuary, built by the crystalline collective eons ago, had never been met as a fortress. It was a seed, waiting for the right combination of species to activate it. Reality rippled outward from the star in waves of possibility. The calculator ships, for the first time in their ancient existence, encountered something their mathematics couldn't explain. Life that embraced both chaos and order, that found strength in uncertainty. Through the neural link, Elena felt the change spreading. The hybrid ships, now piloted by crews who understood true synthesis, became conduits for the transformation. Across space, other beings who had been manipulated by the calculators began to awaken to new possibilities. The massive calculator ships started to retreat, their perfect geometries distorted by contact with something that defied their fundamental understanding of existence. They had sought to solve the universe by reducing it to absolute certainty, but in doing so, they had missed its most basic truth, that life thrived in the spaces between absolutes. "They're running," Martinez observed with awe. "We actually did it." "No," Elena corrected, feeling Vex's agreement. "We didn't defeat them. We showed them something new, something they'll have to recalculate." The sanctuary's star stabilized, now burning with a light that existed in multiple spectrums simultaneously. The hybrid ships moved closer, their crews reaching out through quantum channels to share in the understanding that Elena and Vex had pioneered. "What happens now?" Park asked, watching as the last calculator ships vanished into higher dimensions. Elena felt Vex's form shift beside her, both of them now existing in a state that was neither fully human nor fully crystalline, but something gloriously in between. "Now we build something new. Not human, not crystalline, not calculator, but a synthesis of all life that chooses to evolve together." The neural link hummed with possibilities as they looked out at the transformed space around them. The calculators would return eventually, but they would find something different waiting for them. Not variables to be solved, but partners in understanding the true complexity of existence. "You know," Elena said, watching the hybrid ships begin their work of sharing this new evolution with others. "For a rescue mission that went completely wrong, this turned out pretty well." Vex's crystalline form shimmered with what Elena now recognized as laughter. Through their link, they shared the same thought. Sometimes the best solutions came not from solving equations, but from embracing the beautiful uncertainty of life itself. The sanctuary's star pulsed with new energy, a beacon for all species seeking to transcend their limitations not through force, but through understanding. The war was over, but the real adventure, the evolution of life itself, was just beginning.